Big government is apparently causing some big problems, and Americans are speaking out. In the latest Gallup poll, saying the government leadership topped the problem list in 2014, this being the first year since 2007 that the economy wasn't the top-ranking issue, but maybe government overreach was. To the Fox Biz All-Stars, Katrina Pearson and Rob Basso and Ashley Pratt. Katrina, this is rather revealing because we're far from out of the economic woods, but for many Americans, it's a meddlesome Washington that's a problem.
Well, it is, and Happy New Year, Neil. It's amazing. The American public has finally figured out it's not global warming, it's not Republicans, it's not Democrats, it's the elected officials that they keep sending to office that are the problem. It is the leadership on both sides of the aisle, and I think that's why 2016 is going to be very interesting.
But, you know, Ashley, you could read into that Republicans shouldn't take solace because these are post-midterm polls that show that they have the same suspicions about all politicians.
That's fair.
Well, and they do, and that's...
Yeah, Ashley, to that point.
Yeah, I think Washington should definitely listen up here because the American people are fed up. It doesn't matter what side you're on. People are fed up. No policies or regulations that have come from the government this year have helped the American people in any way. And that's exactly how we feel. Small businesses especially are hurting under the government right now. So anything that's associated with Washington, the American people hate. That's why there was a poll out earlier this year that showed they were slightly favored over cockroaches, Neil. So, I mean, that's not a very good favorability right there.
And that was insulting to cockroaches, if you think about it.
You know,
Rob,
it really
what do you
is.
make of all of this?
Well, let's take a look. We had the IRS scandal, the NSA scandal, Benghazi. There's no surprise to me at all that people are distrustful of this government. But it's not just of the Democrats. It's of Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans have an opportunity here, a really big opportunity to turn things around, to have the American people get behind them. But what I don't want to see happen is in the new Congress, to have the Republicans do what they did in the second Clinton administration towards the end of it, is to stir up all this controversy, to start having investigations about things that get the country off track. It's about getting the country back on track. They have an opportunity here, Neil.
How do they do that, Katrina?
Well, I think they just stick to the principles that a lot of them ran on in this last election cycle, and that is all of the campaign promises that they made. They need to go out there and fight to defund Obamacare. What they get to do now that they haven't been able to do since this president has been elected is to tell their side of the story, talk about their policies on how to improve the problems that we have in this country and why we cannot keep going down this more and more overreaching government policies that we have that's hurting the business economy, that's hurting Americans and their families today. They have an opportunity now to make that case to the American public.
Well, they've wasted that kind of opportunity in the past, Ashley, or grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory. But to Rob's point at the outset here, that people have soured on government because they've seen what happens with overreach, whether it's health care or some of these other issues. How do they dial that back without just being, as critics say of Republicans, the party of no, we don't like this, or this? What do they do?
Yeah, I think that's what they're really going to have to grapple with in this new cycle here, is really trying to figure out how to look like they're, you know, compromising and how they're trying to make things work for the American people. You know, lowering taxes so that way we feel a tax break. So when we go out to take our wallets, we don't feel like we're strapped all the time. And we, you know, with gas prices coming down, I'm sure a lot of Americans are feeling relief right now, at least at the gas pump around the holiday season. So I think it's important for, you know, for the conservatives to really get in there and look at the budget and see what it is that we're spending and clean it up a little bit. Because right now we are overspending way too much. Just look at Michelle Obama's lunch program. I mean, the amount of waste in there and the outrage that it's caused, and yet nothing's happening with it. We just keep throwing money at a problem.
Which is kind of your point.
Neil, Ronald Reagan said this best in his 1980 inaugural address. He said, we're a nation with a government, not the other way around. It's about big government. It's about paring down what's going on in America today and getting back to what this country was born and bred on.
All right, guys, we're going to see about a little later in the show. In the meantime, is Jeb Bush trying to put the squeeze on Mitt Romney, or just making sure the party's biggest mainstream draw doesn't even get a chance to get out the gate?